So I would like to welcome everyone to a new session in the webinar series on resource-oriented sanitation, which is co-organized by the specialist group on resource-oriented sanitation and Eawag. And in this series, actually, we have different presentations from different countries and continents. And actually today, it's Korea, the Republic of Korea, and our speaker is Shervin Hashemi. Shervin is a senior researcher at the Institute for Environmental Research at Yonsei University College of Medicine in Seoul. He's also honorary research associate at the Durban University of Technology in Durban, South Africa. His research mainly focuses on provision of water and sanitation in remote areas. And since 2017, he has been an active member of the management committee of the Resource-Oriented Sanitation Specialist Group. He will tell us today about resource-oriented sanitation in South Korea, the barriers and also the stakeholders and the enablers as well. And I'm really looking forward to your presentation, and I hand over the floor to you.
Okay, hello. Thank you very much, Professor Udert, and hello everybody. Yes, my name is Shervin and I'm working for the Institute for Environmental Research at Yonsei University College of Medicine. So if everybody is ready, I can share my screen to go for the presentation. Okay, can everybody see the screen now? All right, so please let me start. This one. Oops. Okay. So yes, today's presentation is prepared to be presented about the resource-oriented sanitation in South Korea. But I will focus more on these words that in South Korea, the main focus was on the provision of sustainable sanitation in remote and rural areas. So before I start my presentation, I wish to bring up the memory of sanitation angels, those people who did a lot to us, and I personally learned a lot from them. I wish to remember Professor Chris Berkeley and Dr. Fiona Zakaria, and I wish them to rest in peace. Okay, so let's take a look at this matter, that if water and sanitation scarcity is a global problem or a local problem. Okay, so these are the maps that are provided by JMP, and one of them shows the, okay, I think I can, yeah. One of them shows the access to basic or better drinking water services in 2015. Another one shows the access to hand washing facilities in 2015. And the last one shows the access to basic or better sanitation services in 2015. What is interesting here is that, yeah, you can see that like just a specific part of the world seems to face all these issues. So the case is that, so who is really left behind? Maybe people from sub-Saharan Africa are mainly left behind. People from Southeast Asia are left behind, or people who are living in remote and rural areas are left behind. But what about Korea? We are talking about actually this part of the world, which, well, it doesn't seem to have that much problem. 99.1% of the total population in South Korea has access to water supply services. However, there is still an urban or rural gap that should be addressed. So let's take a closer look at the case of water scarcity in South Korea. So this is the map of South Korea, and as we can see, there are like 4 main river basins that provide the water for the whole country. Okay. However, recently we have serious issues, like more than 1 million people in South Korea are currently facing a water crisis. And for example, I am focusing on this part of the country. It's like the Dumbok Dam only recorded about 800 millimeter of rain last year, which is about like just 60% of what it had in 2021. So if you can see these two pictures, we can see like there is a huge difference, like there is a big drought this year in South Korea. And this also like affected a lot through the whole country. I prepared a short video here, which I will show it to you.
Few would associate South Korea with water scarcity. However, more than 1 million people in the country are currently facing a water crisis. In the first of a three-part special, CNA's Yonsei takes a close look at the South Korean province's struggle to secure a crucial resource. The frightening sight of a dam runs dry. Tombok Dam is one of the two main reservoirs that supplies water for about 1.8 million people in Cholla, a South Korean province known for its pristine landscapes. Now, there were about 800 millimeters of rain last year, and that was only about 60% of what it received in 2021. Now, there are lots of concerns that this year they won't even get that amount. So look at this whole place. It should be filled up with water, but it's all dried up. And so there are lots of concerns that the residents of Gwangju will have a huge water shortage. A drought has ravaged the region for about 4 months now. Water levels of its reservoirs are less than half of what they used to be. If the dry weather continues, some 1.4 million residents of Gwangju, the provincial capital, could be out of water before June. Local communities are now in emergency mode. 물이 없을 수가 있나 하는 생각이 들기도 하고 이렇게까지 아껴야 한다고 하는 생각이 들기도 하고 문자는 그 안전 안내 문자로 동복댐 조수율이 몇 % 남았다 그런 식으로 맨날 문자가 오고 그 광주 시민들은 물 전략에 힘써달라고 하는 내용의 문자가 오는데 근데 이런 내용이 저희들한테도 마냥 무시가 되지는 않아요. 카운트를 해야지 어떻게 해요? 비가 안 오는데. 그래야 먹고 살죠. 그리고 받아놨다가 또 재사용하고 화장실에는 그 PT병에 물 담아서 넣고 빨래는 모아서 하고 틀어 오늘 할 때 물 조금씩 틀어가지고 쓰고 그러고 쓰고 있어요. In the smaller towns and islands of Cholla province, the situation is worse. These trucks are the lifeline for some 5,000 residents of Kumildo, one of the many islands surrounding Wando County in Cholla province. Each truck has the capacity of about 15,000 liters of water. A total of 8 trucks would carry water 3 times a day from Changang Dam in Tamjin River, one of the 3 main rivers in the province, to Chokchi Reservoir in Kumildo, where taps have literally run dry. The water storage rate of its reservoir has fallen to about 7% as of February this year. Residents only have access to water twice a week due to water rationing. They had to improvise. Blue water tanks sticking out from the rooftops of houses are now a common sight on the island. Resident Chung Byung-jin says most houses have at least one water tank, if not more. She keeps hers at a storage room outside up the stairs. On the 2 days when she gets water supply, she fills this up, which can last her for a few days. She says she and her husband share one water tank with 2 people next door. It's usually not enough for all of them, and so she saves when she can. 물 떨어질 때 이렇게 해서 해놔둔 거예요. 통에 물 있잖아요. 저것이 떨어질 수도 있어요. 그렇게 떨어질 때를 해서 대비해서 이라고 싱크대 곁에다가 받아놓고 있어요. 이틀간 급수 무거울 때 빨아요. 빨래를 모아놨다가. Madam John says she lived to be 75, and this is the first time she has experienced a water crisis like this. And she's uncertain for how long this will last. 비가 와야지 비 안 오면 언제까지 살지를 모르죠. 비가 와야가 급수가 안 할 거예요. 그러니까 봄에는 이제 비가 올라나 비 오기로만 기다리고 있어야죠. 그에는 방법이 없어요. And if the drought persists, residents will not only face inconvenience, a livelihood that they heavily depend on could suffer next. Lim Yonsei, CNA, Kumildo, Wando County, South Korea.
All right, so we can see that the problem is really serious in that case. But where does this problem come from? Okay, let's have a look at the water consumption pattern here in Korea. As we can see, like this shows the usual or common household water usage based on activities here in Korea, okay? And we can see that like the largest percentage of water usage goes for the toilets. So if that's the case, maybe we can find a new solution, or of course, we also need to focus on the remote or rural areas. As we have seen in that video, like those remote or rural areas are facing these kinds of like critical issues, okay? So the case is that is it possible that we change this pattern by moving from the common centralized sanitation system to the resource-oriented sanitation system, or not? Which has like, which may be able to not only reduce this water consumption, but also be able to provide other merits. So the case is that resource-oriented sanitation is in Korea is not a new thing. Actually, historically, people used to do like similar approaches since long time ago. For example, this painting shows like some temples here. And near the temples, there's a place that's called Heuso. Heuso is actually like another name for toilet, but literally it exactly means restroom, okay? And if you go inside a Heuso, this is what you are going to see. So this is the place so people, well, can go to toilet, and they have two different jars to separate urine and feces from the source. This one named like Ojumjangun, this one is Dongjangun, and this is exactly separated urine tank, and this is exactly a separated feces tank. And then indigenous people used to utilize used to first collect and then store and then utilize them for cultivating agronomic materials or as fertilizer. So here are just like two more things which I wish to show you. This beautiful thing calls Yohyang or Yogang. This is exactly a female urinal, and this one is Hoja. Hoja literally means like something like a tiger. You know, it just looks like a tiger. And this is actually used to be used as men urinal during the Kogoryeo dynasty. So as we can see, this is not a new approach. So what if we just go and give it a shot? Let's see that what will happen if we pilot some of these ROS systems in Korea. So to do this, actually, since 2000 and I think it was 2017 or 18, like we started some pilot scale demonstration for ROS. The location was in the Nowon-gu district of Seoul city, and the venue actually was an urban agricultural center. and we use the local materials and labors. We also, users of the final materials were farmers who owned their own paddy sections of this agricultural center. And well, the land was owned by a private foundation. Actually, that was our luck, because if it was for government, we really couldn't like make such a demonstration there. And here are the results that we faced for that. Actually, we could approximately serve like 80 people per month. And based on this based on this amount of consumption of usage, we could save about like 50,000 liters of water per year, and 500 up to 700 kilowatt hour per year. So this slide shows the construction of that ROS system. So it had one like ordinary seat. It had like separated urine and feces reactors, which were which we used nitrification to treat the source separated urine and feces, and then we use them as fertilizer. So here are some results of the field application of the final materials. As we can see here, like we used like different types of these final materials, and one of them was just intact soil. Another was just like the commercial fertilizer. This was just only treated urine, only treated feces, and a mixture of treated urine and feces. And we cultivated this like some kind of like vegetables that can be used for salads. And finally we could see like somehow very like different changes, like differences in the final the final cultivated materials. And the full results are presented in this paper, which is already published in 2019. Okay. However, things was not as good as it used to be. We had some challenges here, which can be considered as the challenges of our first material implementation. We had the problem of the self-sustainability. We had the problem of the the total treatment and enhancement in especially for the feces, and we had some enhancement in the availability. Like we needed some enhancement in availability of the system. So this is our second tutorial. This time the venue was Seoul Sunset Park, which was a public place, and people who used the system were like ordinary people. The problem here was that the flushing toilets couldn't be functional during winter because of the frequent pipe bursts. So we tried to make one system there, but we faced some limitation. Actually, treating feces in public was against the public law here in Korea, and also ordinary people didn't really feel safe about the feces recycling. And well, since it was just a public park, we couldn't really have some direct agricultural benefits right away. So these are the designs of the second system. We tried to make it a little more improved. We tried to make it self-sustainable. It used no water, sewer, or energy from outside. And we the case was that we also tried to use like rainwater and energy harvesting from the nature. The only case was that like we only collected and treated urine for this system. And well, these are the challenges that we faced. We cannot neglect feces at all. Well, people need sanitation for the feces as well. We faced the challenges about the public training, so people should learn more about such a new sanitation systems and their merits. And we needed more well-organized maintenance, and we had some like management challenges, which especially was with the construction company regarding the imposed detail of the design. Well, we faced these types of issues here because, well, the system was quite new to the country. Like this type of like technical system was quite new to them. So we tried to improve the system to make it a little bit better by like adding a feces reactor to them. But the challenge that we faced right here was that we faced the COVID-19 here, and unfortunately we couldn't really go through, you know, like some public demonstrations during those guarantees time. So, well, so we could not like practically see how this system may work, but like literally we believe that it might be a little bit better than those two other ones. So here I wish to just like notice about the international awards or nominations that we received for this scale up ROS in Korea, including the Energy Group Award 2019 for Republic of Korea and Leaving No One Behind Innovation Award in 2019. But let's have a better look around Korea. Who are the ROS stakeholders in Korea? Well, we can divide it into different sections. For example, for the research and development, the main stakeholders are universities, venture companies, private sectors, and government a little bit. And like recently also, like Samsung made a prototype of a dry toilet, but well, we didn't hear much afterward about how they have proceeded with this system. So regarding the marketing, it's still like venture companies and private sectors are active in this part. Especially there is a company named Space Sun, which like they really make like good source separating toilets here in Korea. And regarding the training or implementation, well, there are some NGOs or universities here in Korea. For example, the World Toilet Association, which their building looks like a kind of like toilet, you know, it has the shape of the toilet. And well, like these kind of NGOs are making like conferences or programs for making the public training. But let's take a look at the economic sustainability of ROS here in Korea. So we did some cost benefit examination for that system that we had, and we totally faced that even in the worst possible case, there is still a 50% probability of cost coverage by the benefits. So yes, for ROS to be used in South Korea, the benefit can cover the capital and maintenance cost. And these are some like strategies or systems regarding the social sustainability of ROS. So this idea was basing on making a maintenance management committee that can run the whole system. And for the promotion of the system socially, we could use somehow like this way for modeling of that. For example, we can submit one system in one school, and then like this experience can help other schools to follow, so that people can learn more. Or we can go for the public buildings, for example, like some governmental buildings, so that people that go there, they can get more familiar. And through this type of like wafer management, maybe we may be hopeful for transferring knowledges and technology to the nearby individual houses. So based on our experience here in Korea, I faced that for some successful management, like these are some successful management strategies for scaling up the ROS. We can use the 5M's management strategy, including man, money, material, method, and machine. And based on all these things, like not just for Korea, but for like anywhere else, we might be able to proceed with a successful management and face up and recover the barriers and shortcomings. So please let me conclude my presentation with some take-home messages. So we can see that like we have the emerge of demands for scaling up wash system in remote areas, even in countries like Korea, like people in rural or remote areas may face water scarcity. We have the requirement of sustainable solutions, which these solutions should be nature-based and ensure that nobody will be left behind. Also, the feasibility of the system is important. Well, we saw that this ROS system is science-based and practically proven and can have like culturally acceptable in Korea. And of course, we have to face some impacts and challenges. And we believe that like ROS systems may meet the requirements defined by WHO for safe sanitation and can contribute toward SDG 6. At least our experience in South Korea could show this up to some extent. So this was my last slide, and I hope that one day we can overcome the water and sanitation issues all over the world using resource-oriented sanitation systems. Thank you very much for listening to this presentation.